Hello, this is Lucas at Dr. Strike the Sun MD, a name I pulled from Moby Dick, one of my favorite novels, if not my favorite. I have been reading Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan after, it's a young adult novel told through the perspective of gay men that died during the AIDS crisis. They act as a sort of Greek chorus to take us through the lives of 8 young gay teens and the struggles that they face and the adversity that they have in their lives, and this glimpse of a brief moment in their life that sort of will change everything for them. Some of the characters, I believe, fairly minor in the grand scheme of the emotional impact of this story. Tariq, for example, and even Peter to an extent. Tariq being a friend of the two boys kissing, Harry and Craig, who set out to break the world record for longest kiss held, based on true events of two men that were set to break a record. I don't believe they were high school age like Harry and Craig. I don't know. It just was mentioned in the back of the book by the author himself that there was a world record broken by these two men, and simultaneously around the same time a gay man took his life jumping off a bridge, which has a parallel in itself in this novel. I mean, certainly with Harry and Craig, we've got these two young boys who were dedicated to each other and trying to make a positive statement for people like them to hopefully be accepted and see that, you know, we are people too, and we care about each other and we have feelings and all these, you know, it's sort of a monumental feeling that everyone gets when they're watching that is supportive or at least curious. Of course, there are detractors who try to disrupt everything, whether it be in person or on the radio. They also do have family issues, especially Craig, whose family finds out for the first time at this event. And that is its own issue while they're trying to stay hydrated and awake and comfortable for 32 plus hours kissing. But the other parallel is the character, and Tariq helps them. He's a minor character, but he's with them. Another character that does have a parallel, not quite the same story, and we don't really know because the author does not intend to tell the real life tales of the people that he's sort of inspired by to create this piece. We have Cooper, a young boy whose parents reject him wholesale for his sexuality when they find out near the beginning of the book, and he looks for love or someone to accept him and take care of him and tell him it's okay and all. You know, he's a really tragic figure. He's looking for that through dating apps, which tend not to be for dating. And the more his story goes on, the more self-loathing builds up and the more bridges he tries to burn and walls he builds up to protect himself from the pain he's feeling. I won't get into what happens with him in the story, but he's deep in the heart of the story. And of course we've got Harry, Craig, Tariq, Cooper. We've got Ryan and Avery, who are they meet at a gay prom, I believe, and they both have different colored hair. Avery has pink hair and is a transgender boy who transitioned early on in his life to get the hormones that he needs to try and fit into the body that he sees for himself. And Ryan, who is a blue-haired young man that deals with bullies on a regular basis. He has his group of friends, but there are bullies like Skylar, who we see after Ryan and Avery go on a second or third date at a golf course. And the trajectory of that relationship comes to a critical stage when that happens, and how Ryan responds and how Avery responds, it feels very... let me say this. The whole book is in no way condescending or preachy about any of the characters or the situations they find themselves in. I find that it's very much a conversation. It's very easy to read, and while I am not myself of this sexual orientation, I do find that there are a number of emotions or emotional beats that I can relate to in some way. Maybe I didn't feel it for that situation the character was in, but I have felt depressed or mad at myself or hated myself for something, or had brief moments of happiness for this or that, and you know, every character in here, except Tariq, who just was kind of there. He was a supporting member. I don't want to say he's unimportant. Maybe I just didn't relate to him at all, but I felt something for every character except Tariq. Nothing against him, just I had no connection to him. But of course there's Peter, who again I didn't really have much of a connection to, but there's Neil, who's a Korean boy who's dating Peter, and it's sort of an open secret, despite the paradox of an open secret with his family, that he is a gay young man. His sister very clearly understands that, but his parents are sort of trying to ignore it in the hopes that it will go away, it seems. And that brings its own problems, of course, and they come at cross purposes at some point in a very climactic I don't know, what is the term? Showdown between Neil and his parents. And it's really heartfelt and beautiful, and there are a number of moments for each character that just tug at your heartstrings, but they're not saccharine, they're not sappy, or just, you know, they're built in a way so that you can understand how and why they're reacting that way. They feel like real people. You can see this happening to someone, and if you have not experienced these things, I imagine if I was gay like these characters, I would understand exactly some of these feelings, but I'm not. I've never experienced these issues myself. I'm sure I've met people who have, and I've had friends who've had their own issues with family for different things like that, but yeah, it's a relatable book, and it's really beautiful, and I am glad Steve Donahue has praised it enough times that I finally took the bait and decided to get into the book. It's well worth your time. It's very short. It's 200 pages, a little less than that. And I look forward to expanding my horizons more. I've never read a book. I've read books with gay characters or about homosexuality in some way, or I've read Walt Whitman, who is a centerpiece of this whole thing. The title comes from a misremembered poem. Two boys, I forget what it's called now, but two boys, it's not two boys kissing, but it's two boys something something clinging. I forget. I don't remember what I forgot. I don't remember what it was, but that refrain of having Walt Whitman appear again and again is really, and Oscar Wilde too, to some extent. It's really beautiful, a different callback than the sort of Greek chorus perspective that we have to past literature. And yeah, the book is amazing. You should spend some time to familiarize yourself with it, because it's great and it's wonderful. Thank you. Bye.